Not surprisingly, language is central to human life. Humans accomplish great things because they can exchange information about their knowledge and intentions via the medium of language. Language, moreover, is not a peculiarity of one culture, but it has been found in every society ever studied by anthropologists. There are some 6,000 languages spoken on Earth, all of them complex, and no one has ever discovered a human society that lacks complex language. For this and other reasons, Charles Darwin wrote, "Man has an instinctive tendency to speak, as we see in the babble of our young children, while no child has an instinctive tendency to bake, brew, or write." Language is an intricate talent, and it's not surprising that the science of language should be a complex discipline. It includes the study of how language itself works, including grammar, the assembly of words, phrases, and sentences; phonology, the study of sound; semantics, the study of meaning; and pragmatics, the study of the use of language in conversation. Scientists interested in language also study how it is processed in real time, a field called psycholinguistics, how it is acquired by children, the study of language acquisition, and how it is computed in the brain, the discipline called neurolinguistics. Before we begin, it's important not to confuse language with three other things that are closely related to language. One of them is written language. Unlike spoken language, which is found in all human cultures throughout history, writing was invented a very small number of times in human history, about 5,000 years ago, and alphabetic writing, where each mark on the page stands for a vowel or consonant, appears to have been invented only once in all of human history by the Canaanites about 3,700 years ago. And as Darwin pointed out, children have no instinctive tendency to write, but have to learn it through instruction and schooling. A second thing not to confuse language with is proper grammar. Linguists distinguish between descriptive grammar, the rules that characterize how people do speak, and prescriptive grammar, rules that characterize how people ought to speak if they are writing careful written prose. A dirty secret from linguistics is that not only are these not the same kinds of rules, but many of the prescriptive rules of language make no sense whatsoever. Take one of the most famous of these rules, the rule not to split infinitives. According to this rule, Captain Kirk made a grievous grammatical error when he said that the mission of the Enterprise was to boldly go where no man has gone before. He should have said, according to these editors, to go boldly where no man has gone before, which immediately clashes with the rhythm and structure of ordinary English. In fact, this prescriptive rule was based on a clumsy analogy with Latin, where you can't split an infinitive because it's a single word, as in facere, to do. Julius Caesar couldn't have split an infinitive if he wanted to. That rule was translated literally over into English, where it really should not apply. Another famous prescriptive rule is that one should never use a so-called double negative. Mick Jagger should not have sang, "I can't get no satisfaction." He really should have sang, "I can't get any satisfaction." Now, this is often promoted as a rule of logical speaking, but can't and any is just as much of a double negative as can't and no. The only reason that can't get any satisfaction is deemed correct and can't get no satisfaction is deemed ungrammatical is that the dialect of English spoken in the south of England in the 17th century used can't any rather than can't no. If the capital of England had been in the north of the country instead of the south of the country, then can't get no would have been correct and can't get any would have been deemed incorrect. There's nothing special about a language that happens to be chosen as the standard for a given country. In fact, if you compare the rules of languages and so-called dialects, each one is complex in different ways. Take, for example, African American Vernacular English, also called Black English or Ebonics. There is a construction in African American English where you can say he be workin', which is not an error or a bastardization or a corruption of standard English, but in fact conveys a subtle distinction, one that's different from simply he workin'. He be workin' means that he is employed, he has a job. He workin' means that he happens to be working at the moment that you and I are speaking. Now, this is a tense difference that can be made in African American English that is not made in Standard English, one of many examples in which the dialects have their own set of rules that is just as sophisticated and complex as the one in the standard language. Now, a third thing